Hey guys, Nick Swinford here at Crossspring Cowboy Church. I'm with lead pastor Mike Morrow. I'm just sitting here looking at social media at the J21 conference poster, and I had a couple of questions to Mike about some of the topics that we're going to cover at the J21 conference, the Leaders Conference. This is for all the leaders on September the 22nd from 9 to 3 that day. So Mike, if you don't mind, why don't you tell us about this first topic? It says momentum in ministry.
Momentum in ministry is just like when you were a kid on a swing. It took a little work to get to swinging, and then there was a point at which you stopped. And that's a very oversimplified example of what we're going to be talking about. But oftentimes, especially in cowboy churches, there's certain things you start with, and it may be an arena ministry, it may be something you're doing as a sermon series, and you look out there and you sense that people are not engaged. You sense that the attendance is going bad, or you see that the attendance is going bad. And so sometimes, ministry is about people being engaged, and so we're going to talk about when that stops. Sometimes it's a good thing just to stop a program, stop a particular thing that you've been doing for a long time. So momentum in ministry, we've got kind of, like one pastor said, we've always got to be on the edge of kind of a leaning forward. What's next? But we find so often that there is a lull in certain things that we're doing, activities, programs, sermon series, and so sometimes we need to define when we need to stop and when we need to, what it's going to take to gain momentum to implement a program.
Sure, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to that. And then, what about the real anatomy of failure?
I tell you, we have a local speaker, pastor, counselor that's going to be doing that, and it is it's scary. What we find as far as statistically, pastors, church leaders burning out, failing in their families, failing in their ministries. And so what Chris is going to do is talk through some of the signs of danger zones that church leaders are getting into, and then hopefully how to put a wedge, to put some distance between personal failure, being in ministry or your family, and the actual incident.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, Chris is going to do a good job on that.
That'll be great. And then I'm reading this one, the pain and change.
Man, the pain and change, that's one that we kind of, and as a staff, we kind of mulled over. And Pete, old Pastor Pete down at Pleasanton, is going to be doing that, because Pete has been one of those guys that has been in ministry and has seen what happens when you come in as a small church, and then you transition to a medium-sized church, and then you go to a larger church. And so there's even something that happens to our brains when we change and when we ask it to change. And so people get mad, some people leave. As a church leader, we've got to know how to introduce change to folks, and then there's sometimes some really negative ripples that go through a local body when things begin to change. Size matters, the size of the church, the introducing new arena events. I know in our church situation, we ask some of our folks that have been here a long time to, hey, let's introduce a guest services team. Let's start. Let's change up the parking lot. My goodness, we thought we were going to have a riot when we put up cones in the parking lot one Sunday.
Yeah.
And so, little things like that can equal some pretty big repercussions. And so Pete's going to talk about it, and it's going to be good. It's a good day.
I look forward to that one too. And then just this last one for us, and we'll come back later and talk about the rest of them.
Yeah.
What about when real culture meets cowboy?
All right, so here's the thing about this one is, of course, we've been doing Cowboy Church since 2003, and we tried real hard just to do cowboys, and for me it was a working ranch cowboy, and some of the folks that were in leadership here then, it was more of an arena, weekenders. And the first thing that happened to us is we quickly saw that it was more than just cowboy people that were coming. and we still are hardcore Cowboy as far as our ministries and our outreach. However, all of those Cowboys still raise their kids and in the American culture.
That's right.
And there's some things that are happening in America today that, even though we don't, we're Cowboys and we're proud of that, it does impact our families, our marriages. It impacts the way we do church, the way we lead at church. And so we're going to see where, the subculture, and by definition, Cowboys meet the sociological definition of a subculture. And so we got that, and we're proud of that. But we never can underestimate the power of the greater culture, the American culture, as it squeezes in on the way we do church and the way we do our families. And so we're going to talk about, the two cultures.
It's going to be great.
You bet. We're excited.
That's September 22nd, so we look forward to seeing you 9 to 3 that day. Have some great speakers: Chris Legg, Jason Taylor, Chase Pope, Taylor Newton will be there. Mike and myself will also be there. It's going to be a great time, so we look forward to seeing you. Tune in for our next time we show up and talk about some more topics.
That's right. Thank you.